Hello everyone, welcome to another live. This is going to be my very first kind of Wednesday night live stream. I hope some of you who usually show up on Fridays can come on Wednesdays. This will be a lot of fun. Today I'm going to be doing some watercolor flowers, some freestyle watercolor flowers. I was going to have music playing, but it's distracting. Sorry. Today I'm going to be doing some watercolor flowers on black watercolor paper with some metallic watercolor paints from Iuile watercolors. Okay, so like I said, we're using black watercolor paper today. And I've cut it down to a mini slimline size. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with the sizing for mini slimline cards, it's super easy. It's 3.5 wide by 6 inches tall. And of course you could turn it for a different orientation. But today I think I'm going to probably end up doing it with a vertical orientation. I've already got my card base prepped. That'll come in later. For now, I'm just going to paint some really simple flowers. And I wanted to show you that this is the type of watercolor paper I'm using. It's from Legion. This is their Stonehenge line, and this is the black. Now, something you need to know about this watercolor paper, and I didn't know this until I'd used it the very first time, is that if you, it's a very delicate paper, and that if you tape it down using some, like my regular blue painter's tape that I love, it will tear your paper. It's not real great. So I don't like to do big, huge watercolor washes on this paper. I like to do more simple painting and don't tape it down. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're just gonna go right in and paint without taping it down. I'm using my Christmas set of watercolor paints from Iuile watercolors, and you'll notice I've added the gold. It's the same gold. I bought a bigger pan of it, and then I also have the red, and I got 2 of them because I'm anticipating lots of use of red watercolor, this metallic, lovely shade, when it comes to the holidays. So when I ordered those, I just decided to get that. So I think I'm going to be using mostly all of the colors here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put little drops of water in each one of these. Let me pull this down so you can see. These are Iuile watercolors. And here we go. I like to put just 1 drop of water in each pan. And this just lets the water start seeping down into that color. And then you can get a really strong color. Because I want to do a little bit more detail work, I'm going to use a number 2 Escoda. And I'm going to start with some leaves. Because leaves, I just love painting just simple leaf shapes. And it just relaxes me. So I'm going to paint a little stem. And then I'm going to get this out of the way so my hand doesn't hit it. I'm going to press down on my brush and then pull up, and I get a leaf shape. So I'm pressing down my brush and then lifting up, and it's giving me that leaf shape. Dipping back into my paints, and I'm going to do the same thing but coming down from the bottom. So press my brush down so it fans out, and then lifting it back up. And do the same thing on the other side. And I like to leave a little line right in the middle. It sort of hints at the shape of the leaf and where the little center stem goes. All right, I'm gonna turn this around because I find painting leaves pulling toward myself is a little bit easier, but I do it both ways. I'm gonna give this one a little bit of a stem and then do that kind of push-pull thing. And I want it to come to a nice point. For my very simple flower, I'm going to do kind of a rose shape, which if you think about painting little C shapes back and forth, that's where you're gonna get your rose. So, for instance, I've got a little C shape here, And then the next one's going to nestle in with it. And then I just start painting them out from there. And you can start kind of making sure where the two meet, that's where you start there. So they're kind of staggered, almost like bricks. I'm also making the shapes a little bit bigger as I come out. My brush is drying out a little bit, but I'm going with it. Let's do another little flower shape. We're gonna do a really simple flower. It's basically like just 5 of those leaf shapes together. There we go, really simple flower. I'm going to bring in another color on that red. I think I'm gonna bring in the gold. Maybe even a little bit of that orange. But maybe I'm just gonna put a few drops right there in the center. I'm not enjoying this color palette yet, but we're still going. We'll see how it goes. I think I'm mixing the colors a little too much. I probably should have just picked out some colors, you know, a few colors that I want to use and restrict the color palette. I might start over. This is what happens when you're live, guys. I'm just not loving the color palette right now, so I'm gonna cut down some more watercolor paper real fast. I think I will narrow it down to these 6 colors right here. I think that would be really, really pretty. So I'm going to do that. And let's start with another flower. Okay, so we have our floral pattern that's all filled out. So I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I'm going to cut out some die cut letters that we're going to put over the top to create a greeting. And I'm sort of thinking, I love this pattern so much, I don't want to cover it up too much. So I'm going to use these really thin letters from Concord and Ninth. This is all the letters die set. My watercolor piece is almost dry. Isn't that just pretty? I think as it dries, the colors get more and more vibrant. Like this purple wasn't as vibrant before, but now that it's dried, seriously. Okay, so if our letters are placed like so, how big can our panel be? Or how small, I should say. I'm using the Waffle Flower Mini Slimline layers. And this is a great example of why having layer size like this is beneficial. Because most people could probably use their paper trimmer, cut this down, make it a little smaller, not a problem. But when you have like dies like this, I can take this shape and I can put it right here, and I can kind of see where it's going to cut out. I'm only going to lose a little bit on the sides, or I could cut it a little off to this side so I preserve the center of that flower. I can really choose where I want my piece cut down. I think I'm going to do that right there. Okay, now remember when I said earlier today that any tape on top of this watercolor paper makes the paper tear? I'm very conscious of that as I tape my die down. I'm only going to have it touch a little bit of the die and then the paper that I won't be using as I run it through my die cutting machine. Oh, the piece came right out. But now we have this edge to edge piece. Ah, gorgeous. And then this piece, see how it tears? That tape that doesn't tear any other paper tears this watercolor paper. It's crazy. It's just a delicate paper, but I love it so much. I love the black watercolor paper that I deal with it. I just deal with it. So we have my mini Slimline card base already prepped. Oh, I'm so glad I did the white border. It just sets it off, right? I like to use foam adhesive on the back of watercolor panels. Now this one didn't warp much, but if they do warp, the foam adhesive is great for the back because it has enough give that it can really kind of hold all the warping down and in place. I've had terrible warping on some watercolor pieces, and then I use a foam adhesive to adhere it to my card, and it's flat. So I really recommend a nice strong foam adhesive for that. And then finish off with the H. Someone in the comments was saying, why don't you use smaller letters so it doesn't cover up the background so much? Originally, I was going to use even larger letters. So this is actually quite a bit smaller. But I like the tall, skinny letters. It's dramatic. Okay. It's not completely center, but that's okay. Whatever. Let's see all that shimmer. Love. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed the card. I enjoyed doing all of the painting and using those watercolors. I think it turned out beautifully, and I can't wait to do some more like this, maybe with other sentiments and other words using those die cuts. I think it'd be really, really fun. Thank you so much for watching today. I will be back on Friday with a regular video. Thanks for watching.